Hello and welcome back to Redacted Nuisance. That 10 to 15 minutes, this one most likely will be a little bit shorter, of random talking on Tinternet. It's by me, Dr. J, queer nuisance, use they as a pronoun. Why is it called redactive nuisance? Because if I called it queer nuisance, you probably wouldn't be able to find it. So I've called it redacted nuisance to show that it's hidden. And in just trying to do that, you can get a sense of why I haven't recorded for a couple of weeks, but also why it is so vulnerable for me to record today. So I, you, if you've been listening along, you know that I have complex PTSD, CPTSD. I am going through quite some time at the moment, and I will possibly try and talk about that, but maybe not today, for the reasons that I will talk about today. One of the side effects of my PTSD, of my CPTSD, is that I find communication really frustrating when emotions build up. At the moment, I am so full of emotion that it's kicked off my stutter. And I've talked before about my stutter and my irregular speech patterns, and I can feel like it's at 10,000 today. It's at a level where I normally wouldn't record something like this. I normally wouldn't speak in public, and I'm doing so because it's really important to me to show that it is possible to communicate even when you're having real problems making word sounds with your mouth and with your body. So there's like three layers of me talking, and all of them are overwhelmed at the moment by my emotional states, by things that are going on that I can't talk about just yet, and things that I would like to talk about but I can't communicate about at the moment because my communication isn't working. So there's thinking of the words. When you're full of emotions, it becomes harder to string the ideas together in a logic and pull them together. And for me to remain focused on this is what I want to talk about. My brain can be very distracted by shiny at the moment, and oh, shiny sort of sensation, and that can be really hard to control. So it's like I string out what I want to say inside my head, and then I try to say it, and there's two places there where it starts to go wrong. One is in my breath and in my throat, and the other one is in my mouth. And I know that they're very connected, but to me they feel quite different. So when I'm trying to talk, I can end up with a stutter happening in one of two places. I can end up with it happening in my chest and my throat. I tense up, my throat tightens, my voice squeaks, and I can't get the air through to make the sound. That's one place where it goes a little bit wrong. And then the other place where the communication goes wrong is in my mouth. When I try and make the sounds, I end up stuttering. And I know that you can hear it in how I'm talking at the moment. I'm also avoiding any hard consonants at the start of words or the start of phrases if I can, which means that I'm constantly double and triple thinking what I'm trying to say. Yes, that was a special moment on the double there. And this is also one of the reasons why I can't use voice to text. I tried to train voice to text at one point, and because I stutter ever so slightly differently on the same sounds, it was just creating a ginormous confusion for it, because I'd be fluent 1 minute and then stuttering one way and then stuttering another, and it just failed to understand me. AI and LLMs, yeah, they've gotten a little bit better, but they still struggle with a stutter that is quite variable because it's depending on where I'm stuttering. That back of the throat duh sound is almost when the breath fails to happen, and then there's another one which is a duh duh duh, which is where the breath is coming through, but I can't quite make my mouth work enough, and I know I'm doing lots of slurring into words, using the m and the w to make sounds that begin with M and a W. It's also one of those things of I'm called J. And literally I can stutter on my own fucking name, which is just one letter. Especially when I'm like this, people will say, "So what's your name?" And I'll go, and I can feel my mouth going, "No, we're not going to say J right now." And it's like, well, the other option is Dr. J. And my mouth or my throat are like, no, fuck you. You're not going to be able to say either version of your name cleanly. And I'm like, okay, so which one are we going to go for? And of course, taking a few beats to settle this, to figure out what I can say, to lead up to it. So I will say things like, "Oh, my name is," and then because I've got the Z, I can lead into Dr. J quite easily. Whereas my name is J, it doesn't quite work. So I often end up calling myself Dr. J, even in scenarios where I would like to be called J. Which is why I always say to people, I'm happy with whichever way you call me. I use Dr. J a little bit more at work, to sound a bit more respectable and all of those things. And immediately I heard, "Ain't never gonna be respectable," one of the bangers of the late 80s. It's all about trying to communicate. So with all of this physical and mental pressure to communicate and trying to get my words out, it is so hard for me to communicate at the moment. It's so hard for me to talk, even just doing very simple things like talking to a friend on the phone or making a very short phone call is almost impossible. Small interactions, even at the supermarket, I will just go completely mute because it's so hard. And it's not because, well, part of it is the shame of stuttering, because hashtag childhood trauma. It's also because I'm having so much trouble communicating. If I get interrupted while I'm in the midst of communicating, it is so frustrating that it creates more emotional pressure on me because I'm so frustrated. I'm like, just don't interrupt me. I was almost there and I speaking slower, so just let me finish my sentence. And then I get interrupted and I have to kind of re-kick off and restart again, and it's so exhausting. And then somebody steps in and says something and I'm like, bang! And my frustration hits like 1,000. And because I have no emotional regulation, because I have CPTSD and I'm in the midst of a really rough time, so I'm so full of emotions, all I've got is emotions. I am just emotions wrapped in skin at times. So if I'm frustrated, it comes like that. It's 0 to 100 frustration or more. You think it's 0, it's actually sitting around 97% because I'm trying to talk and I'm trying to communicate, and it's so hard, and I'm pushing through so many physical and mental barriers to make sounds that you can understand, and then you interrupt me and you wonder why I'm frustrated, and you give me that look of like, why are you so angry at me? All I did was interrupt. All I did was try to help you. And it's like, I know you're fucking trying to help, but you're not letting me finish talking. And you have no idea how triggering that is for a kid who just constantly was in this state and trying to talk and didn't have enough understanding of themselves to know why they were suddenly stuttering, to know why it was so hard, to know why it was so impossible to talk. And right at this point in time, I know that it's really hard for me to even record this. And yet, there's a little part of me going, yay, go you, you're doing the thing. And there's part of me going, you're doing the thing. You're stuttering. This is the thing that makes bad things happen. This is the thing that everyone goes at you for being frustrated with people when you're like this. Everyone says, why can't you just do this thing? And it's like, I can't do the thing because I'm incapable of doing this thing, because right now all of the emotions that I'm feeling and the lack of emotional regulation that you have when you have CPTSD makes it nigh on impossible for me to formulate speech in a way that works. And it makes it nigh on impossible for me to recalibrate when somebody interrupts me. So I hope this has made sense. I hope it's been understandable, and I hope when you hear this and you're listening, and I know some of you will get how vulnerable it is to be stuttering in front of people. Um, and I was thinking of recording some other stuff today, but having done this, I'm emotionally exhausted after just this amount of talking because it's taken so much effort to hold my mind, my breath, and my mouth and all the muscles and keep them relaxed and keep them calm when I've been stuttering, when I've been thinking about being interrupted, when I've been trying to explain this stuff, and when it's been triggering me to remember all of the times that people have done these things. So I'm dealing with like a massive trigger state, massive mental overwhelm, massive emotional stuff, and I've done my best to make mouth sounds in a way that makes sense. So yeah,